I think you should get one of these. This is the HP001G with a 2.5 amp hour battery. In the States that's the GPH01, but you may notice that there's something between the tool and the battery that maybe you haven't seen before, or maybe you have. They've been out in some regions for quite a long time. I first did a video on this about 2 years ago, in fact pretty much bang on 2 years ago, discussing some of the features that this little adapter can do. At the time when I made this video, it was actually available in a couple of sort of test countries. I think it was available in Finland and Norway, something like that. It's available in a few more regions now, and it's just been released in Canada, and it's also available in the US, but with a different model number. All you Americans complaining that the model numbers are different in US to the rest of the world, yeah, well, if you guys took up metric, then Makita wouldn't have to do it. It's super annoying if you're a YouTuber as well, because it means you've got to put a whole lot of graphics on the screen with different model numbers and different weight units and everything. Anywho, let's not get into that again. If while watching this video you decide you want one of these things, just be aware they're not available everywhere. They're pretty easy to get in Europe, but in this part of the world it's a no-go. If you are in Kiwi land, please don't go asking Makita New Zealand for them, because they don't sell them, okay? So you won't get one here, but if you take a look down in the description, you might find some links. Hopefully I've been able to find some links to get one off eBay or from Japan. I'll see what I can find. If you're in the US, the ADP13 should be fairly easy to get, but don't go to Home Depot and expect them to have it there. Go to a reputable Makita retailer, and if they haven't got them, which they probably won't, just get them to order one for you, okay? Not that difficult. This one here came from the other side of the planet, believe it or not. I had to get someone to get it for me from Croatia. Cheers for that, dude. There is something special coming in the mail for you. Anyway, enough waffle. Back to the video. This is the ADP12. In the US, it'll be the ADP13. And it allows you to connect your phone to your tool and your battery in lots of different ways. If you've seen my videos on this, and if you haven't, where have you been? Then this does a lot of the same things that this does. This does a couple of things more than this, but this also does a lot more than this. This is a good quick way of checking batteries. This also checks batteries, yet you've got to either have a phone or plug it into a laptop or computer. But this also does things to this, which this cannot do. So we'll kind of compare them as we go along. For the time being, we'll put that out of the way. This thing hooks up via Bluetooth to your phone or via a USB-C port to your laptop or computer. When you look at the data available on your phone, it is not quite as good as what you can get with the computer. Quickly just show you here on the phone some of the things it can do. Don't worry, I'll chuck it up on the screen properly in a moment on the laptop. But if we look at the history, it's acquiring the information from the device here. Boom. We can see the tool, some of the tool history and the battery history. So all this info here is basically what this does, but there are a couple more I can get on this that I can't get on the phone, but some of those I can get on the laptop. So basically it'll tell you number of charges the battery's had, 43 in this case, the deterioration level, battery capacity, how hot it is right now, 16 degrees Celsius that battery is, what voltage it's currently sitting on, how the cells are balanced, and whether the battery's been over discharged or gotten too damn hot. Plus at the bottom there some failure warnings, what has gone wrong. If these are lit up, it's telling you whether your battery has broken cells or a broken board in it. And all those things, like I say, are available on that other battery checker. But this one, we can, of course, seeing as the tool is attached, look at some of the things on the tool. And in this case, I can see that this has the AFT operated 68 times, AFT being active feedback technology. And down here it says overload protection 116 times. I don't know why this would have triggered 68 times. So that's the basic history and checking of the battery and tool. But there are other features. You've got one here that says lock. Yes, because with this, I can lock this tool and I can lock this battery. I can stop other people from being able to use them without entering a PIN number. I can also set timers for them. So if, for instance, you have a lot of batteries, a lot of guys working for you, but you don't want them whipping the batteries and taking them home, then you can set every battery to stop working at 5 o'clock every day, so that the batteries are no good to them until they've brought them back to the yard. You've clipped them back on this to unlock them again, ready for the next day's work. Now, for a lot of people that might seem like a lot of faff, but some people obviously want this sort of technology, and so this adapter allows it. Basically, you can program this adapter and then put it on all the batteries or all the tools, whichever you want to do it to, and get them all to turn off at the same time every day. So you can have this programmed to 5 o'clock, basically. And all you have to do is basically click it on the tool, bang, it'll program it, take it off, chuck it on the next tool, bang, it'll program it. You don't have to reprogram the whole thing every time. You can set this, and then as soon as you put it on the tool, roughly, it will, we'll go through it a bit more in a moment, it'll lock the tool out, set a timer, that sort of stuff. But if the tool has AFT, as this one does, it'll give you a bit more info like I just showed you on there. I'll show you some more as we go through the video, because I'm keen to see how some of my tools have reacted and which ones have AFT. Now, a lot more of them have AFT than you may realize, because it's not always written on the tool. Like, for instance, I can't see it written on this tool, but it clearly has it. And there are other tools that don't have it written on that I've got that I know have triggered some of the things on this app. And my battery is about to die, so I'm going to change that over, and while I'm doing that, we might as well plug this thing into a laptop and I'll show you some more detail. When you connect via USB to your laptop or computer, you'll get that light showing up saying it is connected via USB, and all the info will now be on your computer screen, which we will now bring up a bit better than this. So now that we have it plugged into the laptop, you can see on the screen here we've got 68 operations like we saw on the old AFT, which you saw on the mobile app. But we now have these two numbers here, which are tool operation in seconds, so not very high, and tool operations, like the number of times you've pulled the trigger. 11,191 times I've pulled the trigger on that thing, but only for a very short period of time for each one. I guess a lot of it is just when you first pick it up and you do the old double tap. Now, I'll check this in just a moment. We'll pull the trigger a few times and just see how these numbers change, but I can't do it right now because while the adapter is on the tool will not work. Over this side of the screen, everything's the same as what we saw on the mobile app. But now if we take a look at the battery, we've got all the same stuff down the left here that we had on the mobile app, but we've also got tools connected, which is pretty cool. You can see all the different types of tools that have been used on this battery. I wonder what that one was. So we've got the little mini blower there, stick vac, a drill, blah-de-blah, on it goes. We'll test this in a moment as well and see if it is done by each time you pull the trigger. So I'll grab a TD, which is an impact driver, and pull the trigger a few times, and we'll see how this number changes. Because if we look over here, we've only got 43 charges, so clearly this battery, you know, when you look at all these numbers, I mean, it's been on an impact driver 45 times, supposedly, but only 43 charges. The battery wouldn't have been changed out that many times. So some tools, I'm guessing, act a bit different. Like the vac you might use for a long period of time. Something like an impact driver, it might count each time you pull the trigger pretty much. Or these may be minutes used. Some testing is needing to be done. So anyway, that's the battery history and tool history info that you can find out. But there's also a little bit more depending on the tool. Each tool is slightly different. So I'm going to plug in my earth auger now, and we'll see if we get a few more different numbers on here than we've got at the moment. I'm surprised that it doesn't have the tool number written at the top, the model number. So that's kind of weird. I mean, battery, we've got the battery model number there. Why not have HP001G written at the top of here? I mean, it must know that. Come on. Right, I have now plugged in the DG001G with an 8 amp hour battery, but as you can see, it's still showing the 2.5 amp hour. We need to reconnect this thing. Up here, you've got a disconnect and reconnect. So we'll reconnect. It's now connecting with the new battery and new tool. Make sure you've got the tool turned on. If it's got an on button, it needs to be turned on for the app to be able to find it. So now that that is loaded, the battery, the 8 amp hour here, it's had 59 charges. There's a small degree of deterioration. Now I wouldn't worry too much about that because this does fluctuate as you charge and uncharge them. This one is how much your battery is charged, whether it's flat or not. And this one is the deterioration of the cells. But like I say, it changes. Sometimes you can see it right down to nothing. After another couple of cycles of charging, it's back up again, so don't stress over it too much. Now over on the side we can see what this battery is mostly used for, the vacuum. I use these in the vacuum a lot, the 8 amp hours, because they are much bigger than the others, so they can run a lot longer. Here you'll see DA series. It's been used a couple of times on a DA series. Now DA is a drill, a right angle drill. Now the DG, which is what we're looking at right now, comes up as DA because it's exactly the same tool. They just slap a different sticker on it and screw on a handle basically. So it doesn't come up as a DG, it comes up as a DA. Now if you've got the American version, the ADP13, this is the only bit I think that will be different. Oh, and maybe it'll be different here even though it's got both Celsius and Fahrenheit. But this will have, all of these will be the opposite way around. Instead of VC, it'll be CV, blah, blah, blah. Most of them will be the other way around. Not all of them, actually. Some of the tools, like lights, I think, and fans, radios, things that don't have measurements, they use the international numbers rather than the American style of numbering. So some of them will be the same way around, but most of them will be reversed to what you see here on the screen. Now, if we look at the individual tool, we'll see over on this side we've got a lot more info than we had on the last one, because we've got 36 overload protection and 135 times the motor has locked up. Now that may sound bad, but with this particular tool it has a torque limiter, so that's not that bad. Okay, you can push the thing and it sort of, the torque limiter kicks in and goes digga 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 digga, stops turning. So I'm guessing maybe that's what motor locked is. And we've got 21 other, don't know what that is. And once again, if we look at the amount of seconds, hasn't been used much, and only about 2 seconds for every time the trigger's been pulled. That's what happens when you review tools for a living. So the whole time that this tool's been running is not quite an hour yet. It's about 54 minutes. But a lot of the time you only need a few seconds to drill a hole with this thing, so it takes a while to add up the hours, I guess. Let's look at a tool without AFT and we'll see if I can find something that's done a few more seconds of runtime. So I've chucked a pretty fresh battery on here now. We've got a 4F, one of the new tabless batteries, only had 5 charges. And if we look over here, we've got way more than 5 activations, been on 12 different tools, yet it's only been charged 5 times. That is because, like I say, I am a tool reviewer, and so when I've been testing these batteries, I chuck them on lots of different tools and activate them to show you in previous videos. And we've got one here under BO, so it's been used once on a sander. Oh, more than once, because that's a sander as well. But these are the new range of sanders that all have a cord on them, you know, all the random orbital sanders and stuff. If we look at the tool info, no AFT stuff, doesn't come with AFT. If you click here, you'll see why. It explains everything. And if we look over here, this will tell you about all the stuff as well. So there's little information bits as you go through. But you can see there's not that many activations for the amount of seconds on this. So 6,800 seconds is, well, over a couple of hours. And I've pushed the thing on and off 182 times. Now the next thing I will tell you about is this here, note. So you can put a note on the tool or on the battery. So for instance, you could write my first battery on here, except it's not my first battery, but let's write something on here. Let's write my second, what do we call it, 4F, and I'll click completed, and it should be, oh, communication fail. Let's try it again. Why you'll fail, eh? Let's reload. You cannot use pictograms or some special characters. What have I used there? No pictograms, no special characters, just numbers and letters. Now we go to history checker. Let's just see what it looks like. Go to battery info now. And under product, which is the tool, I could write what the tool is. We've got 52 characters here to play with. Shall we just put in the model number, which is the B001CG. Write that. Note writing completed. So now every time when I put this tool on to check it, this will be visible somewhere. Now, apart from being able to put little notes on the tool or the battery, so I mean you could name your tool on here, and then if there's an issue with it and the police, you know, get it back, they could take it to Makita, and Makita could bring this information up and it would have the name of your, well, would have your name written on your tool, you know, which is pretty cool. Anyway, that is some of the stuff it can do. In comm mode, as you can see, in communication mode, you can change the settings of the product or battery connected to the communication connector. So that's what we've just been doing. But if we stick it in standalone mode, you basically program the adapter. So that way you just program one lot of stuff to the adapter, put it on multiple tools, and you can have them locked out or put pins on them, that sort of stuff. Right, here we are on the lock page. I haven't used this yet. Down the bottom here we've got owner name, product and battery. No entry yet. So obviously that's different from notes. Here you could put your name, I guess. And up here we've got a pin setting, and you've got the device you want to put it on, and a battery timer, which I'm about to check. I haven't checked this yet. Hopefully I don't end up killing one of my batteries. So, well, first of all, we'll create a pin. First of all, I'll grab a battery that I don't care too much about. Okay, I have now put on a 4 amp hour battery, a standard 4 amp hour that's had the snot kicked out of it, and I don't care too much if something happens to it. It's done its dash almost. 132 charges. I mean, it's still got plenty of life in it, but you know, if you look at it, it looks pretty damn rough. Been used on the impact driver more than 100 times. Anyway, no tool info. You can't click on that because all I've got attached at the moment is the battery, and we're going to see if we can put a timer on this battery. First of all, we need to edit a pin. So let's do something that I'm not going to forget in the next 30 seconds, like 0, 0, 0, 0. So you need 4 digits for it to come up. I don't know if we can do more digits. Let's have a look. 0, 0, no, 4 digits only. We are targeting the battery. That's the only thing that's on there. But as you can see, you can put a timer on the tool itself, which is pretty cool. You can make your tool unusable to anybody else. Use function, we want battery timer on. And at the bottom here, we've got product and battery matching owner name. That's pretty cool. Although you try and borrow somebody's battery and you can't use it because it's got a different name to your tool, that'd be kind of annoying. So we'll leave that off at the moment. Everything's written to the battery now. So now if we go to edit timer, we put in our number 0000, battery timer by hours or by date. 1 hour on the 9th of the 8th 2025. Okay, so this battery is going to work for 1 hour and then not after that. Press OK. Done. Right, completed. So this battery, I'm guessing, is now flashing and counting down. Doesn't do that the whole friggin' time, I hope, while you're using it. Let's take it off here. It's written, presumably. Doesn't look happy, does it? Let's put it on a tool. Pull the trigger. Works. It'd be mad if it flashes like that for a whole hour though, wouldn't it? I mean, apart from like wearing down the battery, it's just freaking annoying. If you had to look at that all day while you're working, it would suck. Anyway, I'm going to set a timer now, and I'm going to come back in an hour and see if this thing works. Go have some lunch. Okay, so 30 plus lunches have passed since that last clip you just saw. My wife and I both came down with the flu, and then when I was right, I had other videos to make, so this one's kind of been put on the back burner, and it's now 4 weeks later. Wife's got the flu again. Anywho, one of those times, eh? Anyway, this is the battery. As you can see, this is what happens when you push the fuel gauge button. But let's just see. I'll just show you that it's, well, let's see if it'll work. Okay, so it's been sitting around for about 5 weeks now. Bung it on a 40 volt tool, pull the trigger. Oh, flashing lights. Let you know there's something up. Just show you that the saw definitely works. Okay, boom. Normal battery that hasn't been locked out. Right, let's now chuck this on here just to show you that it is not a flat battery. 132 charges, so you know it's the same battery, and it is fully charged. So, can we get this battery to work again? I certainly hope so. And 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, I still have a cough from the damn flu. It just won't go away. And my throat's not right either. It's been a shitty year this year for flus going around by the looks of things. Right, I'll set the laptop back up and we'll see if we can get this going. Okay, so if we click on the lock screen, we've got our battery timer here. Remaining time locked by timer. So if we click edit, and we put in our pin number. Now I did just change the pin number on this thing before, so I'm not sure which pin number it's going to sort of accept here. Got a little bit confused. I shouldn't have been changing it while I had a battery already locked out, should I? Anyway, let's try 0001. No, let's try 0000, because that's the one I think I set the battery on. No, let's try 6969. There we go, 6969. Now, does this mean we can just cancel timer now? Click OK. Timer disabled. Done. Right. Let's now have a look at the battery plugged in the back of the laptop here. Yay, look at this. It looks like we are back in business. Oops, take that off with that. Woohoo! She ain't flashing. Okay, where's a tool? The moment of truth. Uh-oh. Oh, maybe it's because the trigger's locked. Woo! She is back in business. So, simple as that. Let's now just test what this thing counts as a connected tool. So we've got impact drivers there, TD105. I'm going to take the adapter and battery off the back of the laptop here, and we are going to stick on this. So let's take this off, put it on. Did that activate it? I don't think it probably did. Let's take it off. Back on the adapter. Still saying 105. Let's now just refresh this thing. Reconnect. Will it go up to 106? I'm guessing it's going to say 105. Did we ask time? 106. It did count that. Okay, so the trigger didn't have to be pulled, but it counted it. I'll now put it on and off 4 times, and we'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3, that should be 109, and 4, 110. Right, let's reconnect. Are we going to go 110? What's it going to do? Come on, it is 110. Well, there you go. So, you could just stand there all day clicking a tool on and off, and that number will keep going round. But I think there's got to be more to it than that. It's got to reactivate after a certain length of time, surely. Because, like I say, there's no way, if this is at 132 charges, that it's being put on and off an impact driver 110 times, and all these other tools, it adds up to, several hundred. I very much doubt that's happening. So I wonder if you clip it on an impact driver, pull the trigger, put a few screws in, leave it for an hour, whether then when you pick it up and pull the trigger again, it reactivates it as another connection. Don't know. I'll have to do some more long-term testing to find that one out. Now, I mentioned in a previous video about this that I had some other updates for this, and that video is still coming. But for the time being, this one here, I think we'll leave it there. There is a few more things this thing can do, but this video is probably getting pretty long. I've filmed it over a long period of time. I waffled on a lot while filming this. I don't know how much is going to get cut out, probably most of it by my editor, so I have no idea how long this video is. And so I think we'll leave it at that. It's the ADP12. If you're interested, I will try and put some links down in the description if I can find them. They're pretty hard to come by in a lot of places, but I'll see what I can find. If you're in the US, it's the ADP13. So yeah, like I say, have a look down there. Please consider liking this video, and I will see you on another one soon. Tools out.